Good morning. I'm Kimberly Edwards from cookingwithkimberly.com. Today I'm going to make peanut butter banana muffins, but I'm going to make really tiny ones. They're going to be really cute. They'll bake in about half the time. Again, I walked into the kitchen and saw our bananas looking not as green as I like to eat them raw. So they're perfect for baking and for smoothies and things like that. So let's get started. I have one bowl. This is going to be my dry ingredient bowl, and then you're eventually going to mix everything in here, and then you're going to need a wet bowl too. So I'm going to start off with 2 cups of flour. Now, you can use all-purpose. You can use bread flour if you want. You can use some whole wheat flour. It's really up to you and what you have. 2 cups is what I'm looking at here. And that's exactly what I had in this container. Awesome. Don't you love it when that happens? Okay, I'm just sifting it through. You can use a strainer, a colander, sifter. It's got to be like looking like a screen. What the sifting does, sifting actually just lightens up the flour and ensures that you have no chunky chunks of flour that are all hard, or any weird foreign objects that weren't supposed to be in the flour that ended up somehow being there from manufacturing. We're going to use 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I'm also going to sift that through here because that can happen with this too. That's 2. And I'm going to use half a teaspoon of baking soda. All right. You're also going to sift that, half a teaspoon. Brand new box. Love that. You want to ensure that your baking powder and your baking soda are fresh, or you won't get the proper leavening for your baked goods. If they're old, it just kind of goes flop. Okay, that's everything I can sift through. I'm done with that. Next, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of flax seeds. It just injects it with a little healthy kick and has a nice little texture too. It's high in, the seeds and nuts are high in proteins. So that's that done. Next, I'm going to put some wheat germ in. That's also for health purposes. I also store my, I know you guys know I store my nuts and my seeds in my freezer, but I also store my wheat germ. Wheat germ has oils in it from the kernel of the wheat, and it will go rancid on you in a quickness in your pantry. So store that in your fridge or your freezer. Just put a little twisty tie on it, or put it in a resealable bag or a airtight container. And just store it there, and it saves yourself. Now today, this is an optional ingredient. Many of you may not have even seen it before. I'm just going to use honey as my sweetener today, so I figured I would add maybe a little bit of bee pollen to increase the health kick for it. It's an optional ingredient. You can usually get it at your grocery store or your health food store. It's like little granules of pollen. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Don't stress. If you don't have it, big deal. No deal. Okay, that's what it looks like. They're little granules of pollen, and they come from bees. So I'm going to add a tablespoon of that. Now, any kind of bee product is very good for you, in fact. Okay, those are my dry ingredients. I'm just going to give that a quick stir just to evenly distribute everything in here. Voila. Next, I'm going to put this to the side. Here's my wet bowl. Okay, into my wet bowl. First thing I'm going to do is just peel these bananas, which should peel very, very easily. And I'm going to mash them. You can use a fork, you can use a potato masher. I'm going to use a potato masher, it's just faster and easier. So I'm putting 2 bananas in. Done. Excuse me. Throw your peelings, if you can, into your organics bin in your pile, or throw it in your garden for good fertilizer. I'm just going to mash it up here. Easy peasy. Mashed banana. Sorry for the noise. Keep up, keep up. Okay. Get all the banana you can out of there. All right. Next, I'm going to crack 2 eggs into here. Now you can already crack them into another bowl if you like to ensure that there's no shells that fall in. It can be kind of a pain to do that if you're adding it to other ingredients. It could be a mess. So I'm just going to beat those up in the corner of my bowl a little bit before I add other stuff. There, done. Okay, I'm going to add a tablespoon of honey. This is my local honey. Okay, my peanut butter today is sweetened peanut butter, so I'm just bearing that in mind. My bananas are also sweet especially because they're extra ripe. So we're just going to taste test it before we throw it into the baking pans. I'm just going to mix this around a little bit. That honey was a little bit hard, and that's okay. It doesn't have any preservatives in it. It will mix up just fine in the wet here. Oh, peanut oil. Forgot. Okay. You can use canola oil. You can use vegetable oil. You can use a bunch of different oils, but today I'm using peanut butter in my muffins, so I figured that I would use peanut oil. It only makes sense, right? I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of peanut oil. You know what? That's 1/3 of a cup. One moment, please. There we go. 1/4 of a cup. Awesome. Stir that in again. Okay. Now, make sure you experiment. You could add coconut to this. You could add chopped peanuts if you wanted to. You could add the whole peanuts if you wanted to. I'm using chunky peanut butter today, so my peanut butter already has chunks in it, and that's great for me. Here's 3/4 a cup. Now, what I'm going to do is, it's very difficult sometimes to get your peanut butter out of your measuring cup. So what you do is you measure some liquid, or you put some water in here, and then you put your peanut butter, and then it slides right out, okay? So I'm going to just measure my liquid. My liquid in this is, I'm going to use 1/2 cup of liquid, okay? So my liquid today, instead of using water, I'm going to use tea. I tell you guys all the time, use your leftover tea that's just sitting there cold. It has more flavor than water. There's that. I need a tiny bit more. I actually had some oolong tea sitting, which is a real treat. Oolong can be kind of buttery tasting. So that's that. Now I'm just going to coat this inside this measuring container. Add this. And next is going to go my peanut butter. Now I've got to scoop it into here. Where is my thing? Hold on. All right, so you're just going to scoop it out here, pack it into your cup, your measuring cup. I'm using 3/4 of a cup today. That's why I measured the wet ingredient. It was actually less measurement than the peanut butter, but then I put it into the 3/4 cup container just to soak the container and be able to get this peanut butter out easier. See how it just fell out? There's like no peanut butter in there. Isn't that the best trick ever? All right, so scrape your peanut butter off your spoon. That's all the peanut butter I need. Now, oh, also you could add other fruits. You could add dried fruits. You could add dried mango. That would be tasty and yummy. You could also add more seeds. You could add cocoa. You could add even a little bit of coffee, instant coffee to this, and just get a little bit of coffee flavor. In fact, that does sound kind of good. I'm tempted. I'm tempted. How am I feeling today? I think I'm going to hold out this time, just because it wasn't on my list, but that's okay. Sometimes I'm pretty adventurous. Okay, so I'm just mixed that around a little bit. It needs to be mixed more, but it's going to go into these dry ingredients now. And the dry ingredients are gonna help us really get a good mixture, okay? So here's our old bowl. Very simple, guys. Ready? All the liquids are going into the dry bowl, okay? Okay, now just grab yourself a wooden spoon and start mixing. Mix it through. We're gonna make sure that the consistency is right because I'm winging this recipe today. If it looks a little too dry, we'll just add a little bit more tea. If it looks a little too wet, we might add a little bit more flour. But it actually looks like it's going to be pretty much perfect. Hold on. Okay. It smells great. I love the smell of banana and peanut butter together. Okay, I've preheated my oven also. My oven is preheated to 350. Okay. Everything is very well incorporated. However, look, it's a little bit thick for me, for my liking. Look at, see how it's kind of just stuck? It's not a little bit runny. All right. I want it to be a little bit more runny, so I'm going to add just a tiny bit more tea, guys, to this. Don't stress. Maybe a tablespoon and a half-ish. Now this is cool tea. This is cold tea, so it's not going to cook my eggs in here. It's not going to screw things up for me. All right, beware. That was about a tablespoon and a half of more liquid. I'm going to add a little bit more, maybe one more tablespoon. Your atmospheric conditions, everything, the moisture in the air, your ingredients that particular day, everything all that determines how your baking mixing is going to go. So sometimes you have to wing it and just have that basic knowledge in the back of your head of what it should look like and the consistency of what it should be before you put it in, so that we're not burning things and things are going to rise and look beautiful. Now that's looking a little better. It's coming off much more easy. It's a little thicker than maybe a pancake batter. It holds together, it sticks together. Okay, now I think maybe just a half smidgen more. I want it to be able to easily get into my cups here. There. And I will adjust all of that in the recipe on the blog, cookingwithkimberly.com, with this post. Okay, all right. Now all I've done here is I've taken some muffin cups, muffin tin. I don't want to call them tins because these are the non-stick kind. I've sprayed them with cooking spray nonetheless, just to make it easier to pop out. I have these guys, and then I have another pan that's a metal pan. These are a tiny bit smaller, so my bake times are gonna vary. I'm also gonna add that on there for you. If you're using the large muffin tins that look something like this size, you're going to double the baking time, okay? Now this is also a recipe you could make into a bread. You could use a loaf pan and make it into a bread as well. Okay, I'm going to fill these muffin cups. Let me taste it first. Taste what's going on, make sure it's sweet enough. I think it's I think it could be a little sweeter. Glad I tasted that. It's important to do that, guys. Make sure you do that. Okay? Now I am just going to put a little bit of brown sugar in here just to enhance that. Well, no, I'm not. I'm going to put the honey. Haha, just kidding. Add some more honey in. Okay. I hate adding too much. Too much sugar to a dish, it's kind of a letdown to me. I don't like things really too sweet, and it's not only a waste of sugar, it's a waste of calories, and it's just no point, and I won't want to eat them as much either. So I'm going to just mix that in. That good in. Mixed in. Now, bee pollen, I did read on the internet, I don't know when, just a little while ago, that bee pollen isn't easily taken into your body and like used as nutrients if it's not wet. soaked. I usually add it to my yogurts and things like that, so I guess it is kind of wet when I eat it. But this definitely would be something that would be wet. That's perfect. Okay, that's perfect. Here we go. I'm just gonna fill these muffin cups. We'll get some in. Probably not gonna be able to see the finished product except in a picture, because I'm not gonna make you guys wait that long. I'm looking probably between 7 minutes is when I'm gonna start looking at these bad boys and making sure that they're not burning. Okay, so these guys, I just take one of these little cups. In fact, I'm gonna wet it too. One of these little measuring cups, and I just spoon it into here. Now I can see that the leavening agents, the baking powder and the baking soda, are starting to do their work. That's a little too full. No big deal. Move it to the next one. Sometimes you just have to eyeball, guys. That's what happens in your kitchen. And you just adjust accordingly. As you go, you have to improvise sometimes. So this looks like it's about, and maybe slightly more than 1/8 of a cup. Is actually filling it a little too much. I never use these little small guys. It's the first time I've actually used them, I think. My mom likes to use them for different things. I use the great big bad boys, typically. So you're just gonna fill these guys up. The cocoa, if you added cocoa, would really enhance the color. It'd be nice, dark chocolate, golden brown, like chocolatey. The coffee would also do the same to it, the instant coffee. Now, if you're looking for that coffee flavor and don't want to use instant coffee, and like I use my tea in baking, you could also use your cold coffee as your liquid. And that would really infuse the flavor of coffee into these bad boys, and that would be really tasty. But I just don't drink coffee, so that never happens in my house. And I use instant coffee if I have to do something with some coffee flavor. Okay. So again, I think these are going to take about 7 to 9 minutes. So you're going to start looking around 7 minutes. You're going to do the poke test in the center with a metal skewer or a bamboo skewer or something like that to ensure that it comes out dry, right? So in goes my first pan while I prepare the next pan. And set your timer. So, instead of making you guys wait that much longer, you've pretty much seen everything I'm doing. Be careful when you're adding these. You don't want to have them on the outside of the pan because they'll burn and it's not nice. It's hard to clean off, guys, so try and work as cleanly as you can. So, make sure you check out my YouTube channel. The show on YouTube is Cooking with Kimberly at youtube.com/cookingwithkimberly. Go to my fan page on Facebook, like it, love it. It's facebook.com/cookingwithkimberly. And follow me on Twitter at cookingwithkime with a capital E. I hope you guys enjoy your day. It's going to be a beautiful day here. Eat deliciously. Ciao.